Welcome to Live Your Legacy podcast. Thank you for listening.
Every clinic, every business, every mission starts with the why. Today we're going to dive into that why with the owners of Legacy Physical Therapy and Wellness, Emily and Cowan Brown. Together they've built something truly special, and we're going to unpack that story today. We'll talk about how Legacy began, what pushed them to take the leap into private practice, what continues to propel them forward, and where they see the clinic and company going in the future. So Emily, CB, thank you for being here, and let's start from the beginning. To start us off, can you guys both introduce yourselves and share your roles here at Legacy?
Sure. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm one of the co-owners here at Legacy, and I'm a counselor. A little bit about me: I grew up in Elk Grove. After graduation there, I went on to North Central and got my bachelor's degree in psychology. After undergrad, I went to Lewis University and got my master's degree in counseling psychology. My first job in the field was working in community mental health, and I was there for a couple years, and then I went on to private practice, and then now we're here at Legacy.
Well, great. I'm also co-owner of Legacy Physical Therapy and Wellness. I'm on the physical therapy side, so I'm a physical therapist. I've been a PT for about 10 years now. A little bit about my background. I grew up in Blue Island, Illinois. I spent most of my childhood there. After my 8th grade year, moved out to the south suburbs of Chicago, Richmond Park. Many of you may not know of it, but it's about 10 minutes south of Tinley Park. And then after I graduated from Rich South High School, I went to North Central where I met Emily. And from that moment, I graduated from North Central in 2010 with bachelor's degree in exercise science. I took a year or two off before getting into PT school, and then I continued my education at Brown University in Peoria, Illinois, where I earned my DPT from there. After that, I started my career off with some larger companies in the area. I gained a lot of experience at that time and transition. And now, as I continue to think about my career and where we were going, Emily and I, we decided to kind of take the leap of faith and start Legacy. So.
Yeah. How did that kind of come about? Take us back to the first few days. How did Legacy start?
Yeah, so it was something I always wanted to do. It was definitely one of those moments where I thought it would always be cool to own your own practice. I remember specifically in PT school, we had a class of kind of building out what that looks like. And Emily and I, we talked about it once we started, when we started dating, about how cool it is that we're going in professions where she's going to be on the mental side of things and physical. And we used to joke about, doing something together in the future. And we just made a decision. I think that's the biggest thing. It was February 2023 where we made the decision, like, hey, let's do this. And then the next day, I just started doing a bunch of research in Emily and started sharing some ideas and thoughts. And just throughout that time, we were committed to getting a product like Legacy, where we can combine two services into one. It's very rare for that to be done. But also, just throughout my time as a clinician, I thought there was a gap in just how we did healthcare, and I thought we could make a real big impact in how we do things, and it's been great. That was one of the big reasons why we decided to go this route.
Why Legacy? Why like that word? Is there some like a particular meaning, like professionally, personally, that you guys really just kind of struck a chord with you? And were there any other ideas you had or no?
So it was hard to land on a name. As you can imagine, we were kind of spinning our wheels for a long time. Nothing was sticking. We would come to each other like, I have a great idea. And then the other would be like, I don't love it. So we weren't landing on anything. And then one night during that time, we were kind of like, we knew we were going to do it. We didn't have a name. We kind of tabled it. It's, actively thinking of it wasn't helping. During that time, my grandpa's health was actually declining. And he was someone who was super influential in both of our lives. Obviously, I was around for a while, but growing up, super involved, supportive, was at every game, was calling, checking in about everything. And he was also a successful business owner. So not only did we get those, the life lesson at every chance possible, but from an early age, he really instilled hard work, and he was just always talking about going after what you want with confidence and conviction. He would go after anything, whether he actually knew all about it or not. He just had the conviction and the confidence that things just worked for him because he was just that guy. And so we had been talking about him one night, and I was like, man, I know his health is declining, but I'm so glad that he gets to see his legacy. And then I was like, and I said legacy. And that was literally the most organic way to come about it, coming from someone so special and with that deeper meaning. So then once we kind of came upon the word, we kind of went back and forth on what that could mean personally, but as a business model as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a great moment when she came up with that word, and we kind of tossed a couple of names back and forth, and it just hit home. It kind of reminded me back in the day when I first started as a clinician. I was working with my mentor at the time, and he asked me at that time, how do you want to be remembered? It was such an interesting question. And I just remember, and he also said, at your funeral, what's your eulogy? What does that look like? What are people saying about you? Oftentimes at funerals, people don't talk about material things, right? They don't talk about all the things that they had or have, or how those things, they really talk about how that person made them feel and how they impacted their lives, and how they would continue to live out some of the characteristics and things that they learned from that person just through their life, right? And so it's one of those things where, we have the real opportunity at Legacy to be able to, we work with people that are struggling physically and mentally, which also can impact how they impact others, right? And so we really try to focus on, how can we make sure everyone is living out their legacy? And so it was such a cool word, and just so much deeper thought has to go into it. And I know we've had fun kind of spinning ideas around that. And obviously once we got going, and then having staff to kind of contribute with that as well too.
Yeah. Well, I know it had to be a big jump, obviously, and probably scary for a little bit at the start, with the uncertainty probably of going on your own, but it's been pretty successful for the past couple of years, and I see it slowing down, obviously. A little biased about that, but I mean, you guys talked about that leap and the motivation kind of behind why you wanted to name it Legacy. But it had to be scary, right? So what were some of the unknowns that you guys kind of faced early on? And how did you kind of overcome them? Or are you still kind of overcoming them and kind of navigating them?
So I think just he had a lot of experience already from kind of running a clinic. So there's the groundwork. But what we realized very early on was there's a lot going into opening a business. So you have to know what you're doing from obviously the product you're providing, the service you're providing, but then also all of the business side of things, the banking side of things, the accounting side of things, setting up benefits. There's just so many layers that going into it, we, not necessarily an obstacle, but just a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think obviously fear, right? So anytime there's a big decision like this that's on the table, I hear people all the time talk about, I would love to do this. I would love to start my own business. I said it for several years, and it's scary. It's a scary thought. It's the fear of financially, how are we going to make this work? We look at, are we going to be able to provide a product that some of the coaches where I came from already had established? How are we going to set up this framework? What do we do from an insurance standpoint? So there's a lot of thoughts that come into play when it comes down to starting your own business. I think at the end of the day, we knew that we wanted to do it. We just had to make that, again, like I said, we just had to make that decision. Once we made the decision, it comes down to a level of motivation, and a level of trying to understand what's our purpose. And our purpose is to truly help people. And throughout my career, I felt like I've just gained so much knowledge of working with people and understanding that my gift was to be able to connect with people well. And that's the strongest thing that we can do. And I knew that if we started this, the least of my worries was going to be able to build a strong culture from a people standpoint. And that's going to patients and having a staff that's going to hopefully have that same level of motivation that carry on to help others as well too. So
I think that service component is huge, right? Like you've been given a lot in your life and you want to give that back, obviously. Mm-hmm. That's something that I've always tried to do too. But I think more so with Legacy, it's unique in the sense because it's not just PT, it's not just counseling. Yeah. You guys have brought that together pretty seamlessly. And you don't see that on every corner. You know, there's every PT or counseling clinic on every corner. Like you guys combined it both. So, what has like the community response been to that? Knowing that it's PT and yes, it's counseling, but we're trying to mold them together. What have like people in your neighborhood and family and friends and all that kind of thought about it?
Yeah, I think the response has been, everyone's kind of like, whoa, that's different. Like, I've never seen that. Is always the very first kind of comment is like, I've never seen that. We're like, yeah, cool, right? Like, it makes sense. Yeah. Because a lot of times, you know, if someone comes in, and we've talked about it too, like with chronic pain, a big surgery, like it's not just the knee, it's not just the hip. It impacts their whole life. You know, they can't do activities they used to do. And there's a huge mental component. So kind of the fact that the mental side of things hasn't been addressed as like thoroughly as it should have been, like the need was just there. And that's kind of been the overwhelming response is like, oh, why did it take so long for this to become a thing?
Yeah, you know, and our overall vision with that, right? You as a physical therapist, you know, obviously having those patients that we work with day in, day out, patients pour into us. We have the opportunity to work with patients probably the most out of every healthcare profession out there. And so our biggest goal is to build a strong rapport with the patients, which means we built this trust right away. And they share a lot of their experiences with us. And it can be heavy for us as a profession at that same time. So I always thought one from the research side of things, there's a lot of research to support the mental health side of things using different techniques like CBT and chronic pain. And I think long term, since we do see a sports medicine population as well, long term our vision is to integrate mental health into protocols. We see a lot of patients who undergo surgeries. Specifically, like if we have an ACL reconstruction patient, you know, they made the decision to have surgery already. So they're already, you know, once they made that decision to have surgery, they go into that procedure ready to go. And then once they reach that second phase, which is roughly about that 6 to 8 weeks, they realize this is going to be a much longer process than they originally imagined. Even though we can layer in those expectations, and that's what part of this podcast is going to be about anyways, helping manage those and understanding. But once they get into that second phase, having that mental health piece be integrated within that protocol, that's when the patients start to feel maybe a little more depressed. They might feel anxious about certain things. They're starting to get a lot of comments from their friends and family members who may not understand. So all those things start to circle. And then at the same time, they could be looking and viewing a sport that they want to do and they can't do. So all this is kind of coming into a head at the same time. I see that as a pivotal part of integrating this, but also at the end of the care when we go return to sport. That return to sport phase is key. Physically and functionally, they're ready. We do all our tests. We clear them. The doc clears them. The coaches are, working with us to get them on a good path, but they just can't mentally get there. And so integrating some of those mental performance techniques as they kind of transition back to their sport, I think is huge and key. And I love the integration. is going well so far, and we look forward to see how it continues to go.
It's got to be kind of difficult to make like a smooth transition with that. Have you found it difficult to almost take those patients, that went through ACL reconstruction and try and nudge them towards counseling, or have you found it difficult to maybe, if people come into you have to nudge them towards PT? Like, how do you guys go about that and like overcome that challenge?
Yeah, it's definitely an unfamiliar territory. So coming into Legacy, and we know it's a process that could work, just from how everything's so well connected and how those two are integrated well. The toughest part is implementing it. It becomes so much more sensitive when we're talking about mental health and addressing that with patients. It has been one of those situations where, how do we navigate this from a business side of things, a marketing side of things? We can go out and we could talk to so many people in the community, so many providers that we work with, and they all think it's a great idea that we're doing there. Is how do we have that conversation with someone without having any sort of like stigma or stereotype that comes along with the mental health piece. And I think it has gotten better. She can kind of correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think it has gotten better, and it seems like we're in the world now where talking about mental health and how that's affecting their life and their sport or activity school has gotten to be a little bit more open, for people to talk about, which is great. And so it has been difficult. That part has been difficult. We are starting to find our groove with it. And I think the message is, it's okay. It's okay to express those feelings. We understand as physical therapists that the mental health side of things is a huge part of the recovery. And these services are exactly what they're meant for.
Kind of switching gears, back to like the overall setup and kind of early stages of Legacy till now. How have you guys kind of seen it grow and change throughout the almost 2 years that you've been open?
Yeah, I mean, it started with 3 of us here. And it's been super fun. I think unexpected would be a good word for it as well. You go into it hoping and having faith that it's going to be successful. But I think we didn't see like how fast things would pick up. Yeah, I mean, it's been fun. I said like a question, but it has been fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think what you mentioned, right? We experienced so much growth in a short amount of time. To give you guys a reference, right now we have 5 physical therapists at our Naperville location, and we expanded Legacy this year to Plainfield as well too. So there's a lot of growth within not even 2 years yet. We'll be 2 years in about a week now, but it's truly amazing. With that said, there has come a lot of challenges with keeping up with the growth, and I think the part that was challenging is, do we have enough people to be able to provide the service that we want to continue to have, and are we still meeting people's expectations? Typically when companies grow and people get bigger, that's when people start to lose control of the situation. So I think our core values that we establish, our principles, our mission statement, Emily and I, we came together and we said the only way we grow if it's organic and if we have the right people. And so we place a super high emphasis on those 2 components and and seeing that people are aligned with our core values and they believe in that. And if those 2 are aligned, we will grow, and it's going to be organic, and we're going to make sure patients are going to receive that high level of care, even though, and that really has helped us with the amount of fast-paced growth that we experience by just falling back to the reason why and that purpose. So.
Yeah. And obviously, in order for that to flourish and be effective, you got to have effective leadership. I think you guys both are, whether you want to admit it or not. But seeing yourself like 2 years ago as a leader to now, how have you guys each individually seen yourself grow, or how have you seen CV grow, or how have you seen Emily grow?
I can start. I mean, I've seen him in like that leadership role, obviously at other clinics he's been in. And I think like knowing and seeing firsthand how he handles things, it was kind of easy decision to say, hey, let's go off on our own. Because like I've seen how well he did before. Like it was no question that was going to be even an issue at all. And so just kind of knowing things were going to go well from a leadership standpoint and knowing he had the skills for that. This has been like my first role in leadership in a company and in a business, but I mean, obviously he's done it. So he's also a great mentor as well as co-owner / husband. For things that I wasn't sure of, like he's very structured in that and has just a great way of leading people and has been a great example. I mean, thinking even back to like my own history, like all the bosses that I've had that like I really connected with and loved, like they were open, they were approachable, it wasn't micromanaging, it was someone who let you kind of do your job, like kind of hands off, but also like having the faith and trust in you that you were gonna do what you needed to do without having to be monitored. And that's kind of how we both would like to be as well. We have that faith and trust in all of our staff that, you know, everyone is here to do a great job. Like they don't need micromanaging. Right. So I think that's been key for us in the leadership role.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, I think my style has always been based on a lot of the mentors and people that I had in my life when it comes down to leadership. There's this balance between leadership and management, and I've always tiered toward that leadership side of things. How can we maximize the opportunity of everyone? And it's not, again, just patience, but the people that you work with. And I appreciate the kind words that she said, but you know, leadership doesn't have to be presented in the workplace. I knew from day one since we met that she was a leader. She's just a leader in every part of wherever she goes. And so those skills are just transferable to any situation. You're always gonna have that. And so it's a no-brainer, and the confidence that we had going in from a leadership side of things was a no-brainer. And so the way she leads our family, the way she leads, you know, different situations in our lives, and how she handles situations, it just shows that it was like I'm learning from her, you know. So you know, it's one of those situations where we understand that our core values and our culture and what we want legacy to be. We understand that it takes strong leadership. I've been in several situations where cracks in leadership are present, and you can see how that affects the culture and the people. We are in a people business, and that's what it's all about. And we make sure all of our decisions are based on our people. So, obviously,
you guys have displayed right there that this clinic and company isn't just work, it's deeply personal for you guys too. So how does your family fit into like the vision of physical or legacy as well? Yeah.
I mean, I think obviously, like you said, like everything's intertwined, especially when you kind of like own the business. Like it is, like dinner time isn't just talking about school. It's like the work kind of never shuts off. Obviously, we do set aside time, so it's not like it's all business all the time. But it's actually been kind of cool to see like what our kids pick up in it. Like our son says he's gonna grow up and be a physical therapist counselor. So ambition, he's gonna do it all. But yeah, I mean, it's been cool to kind of see how like setting even the example for them. So like they know like dad gets up super early to get all the things done because he wants to be able to be home and spend time with them, and it doesn't want to be, you know, at work all day, see you right before bed, good night. And I think having our own business has been, it's like a lot, and it's like technically 24/7 because if, you know, there's a leak somewhere, like it could be anything at any time. But kind of the beauty in it also is that we can make the time for things. And I think obviously family is number one priority. So having the flexibility and also using that as like a model for our kids of like hard work pays off. If there's a challenge, like obviously they don't understand conversations, but if there's some kind of, you know, challenge that we're working on at the time, we're not gonna give up on it or be like, oh, this is too much. Like they kind of get a front and center view of, okay, this thing is going on, how are we gonna tackle it and move on? And I think it's a great learning lesson too. And we both kind of come from families who have businesses and kind of we've been able to see that front and center. So yeah, it's been full circle moment getting to pass that on to our kids.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's what it's all about, man. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, legacy is just all encompassing on what it's all about. It's the purpose, is what we both wake up and we have this just unconditional motivation where we just are, I know I'm doing it for my family, I know I'm doing it for my staff, I know I'm doing it for people. And so family just ties a huge role in our motivation levels for being able to provide a service and a product for everyone out there and for our kids to see that. And we both come from, you know, households where we believe in great service and helping others. And, you know, it's great that our kids and all the family members can really just see how we work together to be able to use our gifts that we were given to be able to provide those services to help others. So,
obviously, definitely would motivate you to keep going, and I think you both kind of touched on your family and everything. I guess the legacies that they've left you and how it's kept you grounded and how you want to pass it on to your kids, which I think is great. And while leaving a good example for your workers as well. But with that, especially the motivation aspect, you said, Stevie, like where do you guys see legacy going in the future, 5, 10, 20 years from now when you are retired? Like what's next? What's the plan? Have you thought that far? Or
it's interesting. You know, we talked about this when we first talked about legacy. We talked about one single clinic, and we talked about being able to provide a service in the community that can just help impact others, keeping things small. And it's one of those things where it's one of those things where when we look at now, after 2 years and experiencing so much growth, and it's about the number of people that we were able to affect is so cool. And you know, if we can provide that same level of service and we can start to affect the number, many more people, that's our goal and that's our mission in life. You know, it's not just beyond this clinic, but our goal and mission in life is how can we help as many people as possible. So, you know, when we look at vision of legacy is if we continue to organically grow, we have the right people that is also has that same philosophy of life, of being able to help people and grow. You know, we can definitely see legacy continue to grow in that fashion. And our mission and goal is simple. And I always thought physical therapy, healthcare should be simple. Let's help as many people as possible. And so whatever that looks like, from as long as we stay true to our values and our mission, I can definitely see 5, 10 years, 20 years that we're providing services to hundreds, if not thousands, of people every day. So,
CB, you mentioned growing in the community and trying to help as many people as you possibly can, whether it be a couple people or hundreds or thousands. That obviously takes a big community effort, and providing new services and different programs, and just further, I guess, solidifying yourself within the community. So is there something that you guys are really looking forward to either grow into that more or further develop, or different ways you can interact with the community? How do you guys go about that?
Yeah, and I think it comes into, that's a twofold answer, right? So we look at one, our skill set of where we are, right? And so we look at our current clinicians, but then we also take the community here to affect too. What does the community want? What is something that they feel like is going to help them and be beneficial? And then what does the research say behind it? And we try to lead with this kind of 3-pronged, system of taking, what are the wants and needs that people feel like are going to be effective for them? What does the research say behind it? And then what is our skill set as a group? And so being able to find all those things, so I can very easily say, like right now, since we have a lot of physical therapists, particularly that are interested in different sports medicine and different sports in general, but being able to provide a service of like, do we do a screening process before a season? Are we able to capitalize on hoping to prevent injuries in the future? Could we be on the forefront of that? Can we work with different other healthcare providers to be able to integrate programs that can help others in the community? How can we use some technology that's out there to be able to assist us and help others as well too? We mentioned recovery rooms before. We've dabbled into massage treatments and other things that have been therapeutic, not just from the physical side of things, but mental as well. And then outside of that, there's plenty, as Emily could probably mention, that can be done on the mental health side of things that can really help boost our community and services that we can provide.
Yeah, I think definitely that like mental performance side of things, continuing to kind of work with like local schools and getting the word out as well. I think because mental performance isn't a new idea, but obviously the combination of both is. And also since like the counseling side of things is newer, than like the PT, because he's been in it and established out here in this area for a while. I think just getting kind of our name out there more and the services we provide, if kind of coaches are hearing about it, and like you said, when talking to doctors about how to implement the mental health side into recoveries, I think it's just an exposure thing, just like speaking to more people about it, following up about it, kind of like you said, showing what research there is out there, like showing the benefits of both.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. What has the initial kind of response from the community been, like all the feedback? What have you guys heard personally from people that we have treated, or just general neighbors or something like that? What have they told you?
Yeah, fortunately, unfortunately, part of the process of starting a new business is how do you gain feedback, right? We think we have this product that is going to be beneficial to so many other people, but how do we actually truly get that feedback and understand, is this what it's a product we're doing is serving the people to their level of expectation or above and beyond? And so far we have relied on sources like reviews and some other platforms that have really assisted us with gaining some of that feedback, and overall it seems like from that angle we have been seen to be a top provider when it comes down to those services within at least our community. However, I would love to start to just gain more feedback just throughout the community. But anytime we have mentioned it to our friends, family, co-workers, referral partners, overwhelmingly we've received feedback on it's such a great idea. I think this is so crucial. We're in a day and age where mental health is at the forefront, and I'm super happy to hear that it's not this big stigma that I'm crazy if I go seek out a counselor now. It's a normal thing, and I think it's well needed. And I think people just have loved the idea of the combo. So.
I think that in terms of what we are already hearing, it's been super positive. I mean, with that, obviously the idea of it, but then our current patients that are coming in, and I think the amount of people that are then referring their friends, their family, also speaks volumes to itself. Like they trust us, they like their experience. Just the overwhelming feedback of when people come in and say, like, I don't feel like I'm at PT or like getting a medical service. Like, I feel like I'm hanging out. Like friendships have been formed. Like, and we love that. That's the culture we want. We want you to come in as staff, as a patient, and like you're amongst friends, you're amongst family. It's not somewhere that's cold and clinical. We want to be that warm environment. So that's, the feedback that we've been receiving.
No, that's great. I think you guys have definitely established that and made that family-like feel and brought that here. So thank you for that. Yeah. Before we wrap everything up though, I kind of want to do a little bit of reflection. So if you guys could go back to day one and if you had to give yourself like any advice or tips or anything like that, would you do it differently? What would you say to yourself?
I think, you can always hindsight's 2020, so there's like little things, but I feel like everything kind of like it fell into place pretty well. Obviously, you're gonna come with any obstacle. Like there's gonna be things that come up, but I think one of like the mindset of when something comes up is not thinking of it as like this big obstacle, and it's like it's a challenge to overcome. And then I think thinking of then everything moving forward as just a challenge we're gonna overcome. And I think Cowan's kind of really good at that mindset too. So from the beginning, that was the mindset, is we're overcoming this. So I felt like kind of laid the foundation of like, yep, things are gonna come up. That's part of it. And I think just kind of rolling with everything. It was not smooth, but it was positive. The whole experience was positive.
Yeah, I think she hit it. I knew and we knew we didn't know everything, right? And so so going back, there's anything that I would do differently. It's very hard to come up with an answer to that question, only because our mindset was already in place of, hey, these are things we're gonna try to be prepared as much as possible. And then whenever curveballs come into the mix, we just had to kind of deal with it, directly. I don't know if doing any more homework or research would have prevented some of the things that may have come in that we didn't know about. But it is one of if people are interested in starting out business, you have to have the mindset that you have to be willing to learn. You have to be okay with mistakes. They will happen. And it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You just have to, again, just like everything in life, we have to learn from our decisions and all the things that we do on a daily basis. So.
No, that's great. Has there been a moment for either of you so far, or multiple moments maybe that you can recall that you stopped and thought to yourself, like, this is exactly why we've done this, and took that leap?
It's a hard question. I feel like maybe not one overwhelming moment, but a bunch of little moments, like just like the camaraderie we have here. Even just peeking out, like when it's slow and like everyone's playing spike ball and like in a great mood, like everyone's having fun, or like even being the counselor, like I'm not always in the back, but there's still like patients that I've come to know and will like catch up with. And I feel like that whole environment has been like, this is why we're doing this, like to kind of have that community feel and impact people's lives and them impact our lives as well. So yeah, I guess not one overarching memory, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean to go along with that, it's very broad. I try to take a lot of time to reflect on just where we've been. Again, since it has been a fast growth, I think it's always just healthy to go back and say like, oh yeah, this did happen. So I think some of my favorite like moments is actually toward the end of the year. End of the year, I really go back throughout the whole year, and I don't necessarily look at numbers too much. What I look at is like how many great things has happened. How many great things has happened just throughout the year, and throughout the 2 years that we've been open, right? And it always comes down to people. And the things that, if someone gets married, if someone gets engaged, someone's having a baby, all the personal things, we all come together as a team, and we cheer for that, and that's what I really think legacy is about. It's all about our people. And not just that, but it's our patients, right? Our patients are, we get the unique ability to just build this deep connection in both our professions with people and patients. And we always wonder, like, when they get discharged, I always say I'm in a constant breakup, because, we establish such a great rapport with people. We get to know who they are, who their family is, some of the activities they're doing, if they're having a baby, like if someone's having a baby in their family. Sometimes we don't get to have that closure with our patients, and I think it's those moments that really like help us all bring it all together. And how do we continue to have this connection with our community and learn about that follow up and all those things. And so it's so cool to kind of be able to just sit back and reflect, and the only thing that comes to mind is people. So
great. Well, we're done with all that stuff. Let's do that fun segment, the last three. So I'm going to ask you guys those three questions. I'd like you each to kind of answer it on your own, even though I'm sure it's going to overlap a little bit. But first one, what does the word legacy mean to you?
Okay. I think tying it back to like how the name came to be, without, like for instance, like my grandpa trying to like form this legacy, but it was the way he impacted like all of our lives. So I think legacy to me means like living in a way that is something that can get passed down. So I want my kids to see an example that's gonna get passed down, just like the generations before me. We got to see that legacy passed down. I think like instilling the values and just like the example and passing that on and being remembered. What do you want to be remembered for? Yeah, like that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I think about legacy, it's almost putting life in reverse, right? And so you're starting with the end in mind now, and you have to fill everything in to get to that end, right? And what does that look like? And what purposeful actions that you can take throughout your life that's going to get you to that end. And I always encourage people to, when you think about your life, think about what the end looks like. Think about what that eulogy says about you, right? And that can really help guide your decisions. So I love the idea of living your legacy within this whole mindset, because we are actively living towards our end, right? And how's that going to affect our next generation? And so I really think that's something that when I think about legacy, that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's great. I know, Emily, you've already kind of touched on this with this second question, with someone that has like left a legacy for you. So CB, who's someone who's left a legacy for you to follow or to add on to, and what was that legacy?
Yeah, I mean, I think very similar to Emily's answer, right? Where family, I think family is probably the number one common answer that people will say, but that means something different to everyone, right? And so my grandfather, he started a restaurant on the south side of Chicago in the Morgan Park area. It's named Home and Hoagy, so I have to give him a shout out. It's called Home and Hoagy, and it's been there for over 50 years now. He's since passed, but even just seeing his drive and motivation every day and seeing how he's always there, encouraging. He had a really cool philosophy where he hired people. The way he hired people was almost to give them second chances. Sometimes they were just down on their luck, or they made bad decisions in their past, and he helped them regain and restore that. And so it was an act of service that he did, and that's just something that always stuck with me as far as like, man, this is what service really means, and this is something that I want to do. And I think that's super cool for that to happen. It also went right to my parents, right, where my parents end up taking over this restaurant as well too, but then just seeing the way they live their life, if you were to have a conversation with my dad right now, you would probably never realize where he came from. He is probably the most resilient person I know, always happy, and he spent most of his time in his early childhood in some very tough areas growing up, and he just has a different perspective on life. And so I love to think I brought some of those characteristics to myself, and my goal is to always still try to live up to my parents have taught me, the grit and determination, just doing it all without complaining. And so I think it's a cool thing, and I love the drawn to those things when I think about how we want to continue to create a legacy for our family.
Perfect. Last one, number 3. How will you leave your legacy, and who will you be leaving it for?
I feel like the answer that I keep going down to is like the kids. Yeah. So Carter and Kennedy, I think obviously everything you do is kind of like for your kids. So leaving something to them that they can be proud of. And then again, like kind of generations before of leaving not only like, oh, there's a business, a company, not that it's like handing over, but like instilling that maybe they don't want to be a counselor or a PT, you know, but just instilling in them that you can go after whatever you want. So whatever you're interested in, like be the best in that. And I think that again, like one of my grandpa's thing is like, do whatever you want to do, but like your aim is always to be the best in it. And your aim is to always go after whatever it is you want, you know? So there is like a job where like, oh, I think I kind of want to do it. And he's like, oh, well, just call them in, go in directly, like go find whoever you need to find. And I think that ambition and that go-getter attitude and then like the confidence and again, that conviction to like, this is what I want, I'm gonna go after it. So kind of leaving that mentality to them. And
yeah, I mean, I echo that. You know, our kids is our number one of who we do it for. Obviously each other, but then also just all the people that we work with on a day-to-day basis. My goal for every interaction that I have is just as much of an impact they may have left on me. I want to be able to hopefully provide that to them as well too. So being able to, you know, the who is anyone that we interact with within our company. And just to be able to provide some sort of, again, that continuation of, hey, I picked this up from CV, I think is super cool. And just to have everyone to have that experience and that just to kind of continue throughout their life. So
It's great. Well, that wraps up the episode. That's pretty much everything we wanted to get to. So thank you both for being here. I think it was great, a lot of fun. And people kind of get a little taste into what Legacy is and how it started and where we're going to take it going forward. So see you guys next episode.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Live Your Legacy podcast, brought to you by Legacy Physical Therapy and Wellness. If this episode helped you in any way, if you found it informational or educational, please share it with someone who would appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a comment or review or follow us on our socials. Links are in the show notes. Until next time, remember to live your legacy.